Cruise Control streams live every Saturday starting at 10 a.m. Eastern. Watch us live on Facebook and YouTube. Details are in this podcast's episode information.
This is Cruise Control.
Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on
Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
And welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. It's that time again to buckle up and head out on the highway to check out what's going on in the automotive industry. I'm Fred Staab, and my cohort in all of this is none other than Les Jackson.
Yes, indeed. We are at it again, and no shortage of stories.
No.
Never is.
Never is. And we've got a great one coming up this hour. We're going to lead off with it. It's the J.D. Power Initial Quality Study. And it finds that last year was not too kind to manufacturers. We will have the results of the least and most problem-plagued cars and trucks, all new cars and trucks. If you're heading out to buy one, hey, it's good information to check out, right?
Well, yeah, especially if you're heading out to pay a premium over MSRP.
Yeah.
Only to find out the model you're choosing has, oh, well.
Well, hey, you know, it's pretty interesting you mentioned that, because I was just looking for our next story about Hyundai switching up its 2023 lineup, and they had 5 dealers on there. I think 4 out of the 5 were charging a $5,000 markup on the Venue, which is now going to be their entry-level vehicle. They are doing away with several sedans, and they won't be making the cut. Plus, they're going all in. They have an incredible electric vehicle. This thing is gorgeous, the Ioniq 6. It's got a lot of aerodynamics, very much similar to what Mercedes did with their award-winning EQXX, their record holder EQXX. You look at the two vehicles, they look very similar. We'll talk about that. If that means aerodynamics are going to dictate how all EVs look in the future, we'll kick that one around.
They sure will. And over in the Talking Tech category, we're going to talk about the government would like more after-crash black box data. Now, there's not actually a black box in your car, but the computers in your car will store all that data.
Yeah, and they're looking for more of it. And then you're going to have an at-the-wheel review of a very compact vehicle, the F250 Super Duty, right? The Super Duty diesel, and it is almost 21 feet long. Oh, wow. That was,
yes.
Did you manage to take it to some super tight places so you could?
I did. As a matter of fact, I even took it to an underground garage.
Wow.
And they said, well, that's not going to fit. I said, no, it's 79 inches. You have 81 inches on your sign. It'll fit.
You said, I'll make it fit.
Yeah.
All right. All right. We'll have more when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We're just getting started, so stay tuned because we got plenty of info coming up. Cruise Control is your on-air automotive magazine. Check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com.
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. This is your on-air automotive magazine. You know us. I'm Les. He's Fred. And as we teased at the beginning of the hour, J.D. Power, as they do every year, released their overall initial quality study of all the vehicles, all the manufacturers. Even though it has continually gotten better over the decades, this past year, disappointing.
Yeah.
I think that's the word.
Yeah, it is. And we're going to kind of look at how it was disappointing. Where did they let people down. And also, we'll kick around the ideas and we'll tell you what J.D. Power thinks. You're absolutely right, Les. It was compared to the 2021 results, the industry experienced an 11% increase in problems per 100 vehicle, or they call them PP 100s.
That's not good.
Yeah. That is 18 PP 100 worse than last year, resulting in an industry average of 180 problems per 100 vehicles. And that is a lower score, which, a lower score typically represents higher vehicle quality. So we have climbed here 18 more. And there has been this trend towards improvement. And General Motors kind of bucked the trend this year of the improvement going down. And Buick was among the brands to have quality improvements, improves 17 problems per 100 year over year, making it the highest overall best quality from 12th place in 2021. Big news for Buick, right?
Isn't that interesting? Now, you would expect Cadillac and Chevrolet to be doing about the same, but that's not the case.
Not the case. Not the case.
So,
and then one of our favorite brands, you and I think this brand has been kind of hitting it out of the park, everything they bring out. Genesis ranks highest among the premium brands. Of course, Genesis is the premium brand of Kia, Hyundai, and they've just been bringing out incredible vehicles, whether it's their big cars or their crossovers. I think that's a real standout, that brand.
well, yeah, we have respected Genesis for a number of years. For good reason, because we test everything, and when you drive these things, they're just better.
Another interesting thing that came out of this study is that it's not just all new vehicles that are having problems or having more problems. It is the carryover models too. Now, typically we would say okay, maybe avoid a new vehicle that's launching until they get it, as the Brits would say, properly sorted. But that seems like it's not the case, right?
Well, that's right. Normally, from year to year, carryover vehicles get better and better and better.
Yeah. I mean, we know just from talking to people that there's hundreds of improvements every year.
Yeah. And unfortunately, because of supply chain problems and component problems, and then component manufacturers are having problems themselves. So the components, many of them, are faulty.
Right.
And you don't see that most of the time in the industry, but boy,
when it happens, it's not pretty. I mean, look at what happened to the Bolt, a great entry level electric vehicle, decent range, over 200 miles on certain models. And because of LG Chem's batteries that caught fire when the vehicles were parked, who gets the bad rating? GM.
Exactly.
Chevy. Yeah.
Exactly. I have a neighbor who has a new Ford Escape, and in the past 6 months, she's had 3 alternators in it because the alternators are just faulty.
Yeah. Think about that. I mean, it's an alternator. This is not a high-end, exotic part that they're just building for the first time. So it's suppliers lowering their quality on this. But who has to carry the freight? Well, it's Ford, because what are they going to do? Hey, I bought my new vehicle and it's got a bad alternator. I'm not going to go down to the parts store and put one on myself, right?
Well, you better not, because you'll void the warranty. This is so, it's a real problem. And of course, the alternator makers are relying on, they're not chips, but they're transistors.
Yeah.
Power transistors that are inside to make a voltage regulator. And those components are not being manufactured well.
Well, we'll tell you more about this J.D. Power initial quality study. There's some surprises, some things that, maybe won't surprise you. So stay tuned to Cruise Control. I'm Fred Staab. He is Les Jackson. We will be right back.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. We're taking you on a ride around the automotive industry. I'm Fred Staab. He is Les Jackson. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page, Cruise Control Radio Facebook page. We told you about some cool stuff we have up there. I'd love it if you run over there and give us a like. We've got a great YouTube page as well with plenty of videos. Les Jackson's detailed tour through his sock drawer, which is always exciting. That is always a plus. But we've been talking about this J.D. Power initial quality study. Overall, the results have found that there are a lot more problems with vehicles where the trend had been the problems were decreasing, problems per 100 vehicles. Here are some of the problematic areas, and some of them have been with us forever. When I say forever, the last 5 years or so. Infotainment systems remain the most problematic area.
It's interesting.
An average of 45 problems per 100 vehicles, Les.
You just, you kind of think, well, heck, it's just a radio.
But, I mean, it's about...
but it's everything.
Getting Android Auto or Apple CarPlay to work, connecting Bluetooth not staying connected, difficulties with touch screens and display
Nav
screens.
systems are glitching up on people like they haven't in a number of years.
And here's one, inconsistent audio volume. I had that, I was telling you during the break, I had a Mitsubishi Outlander where you would be listening to the radio, you'd shut off the vehicle, you get back in, you turn it on, the volume knob is at the same position. You can see, on the level that it is up there. You can't hear anything. Can't hear anything. So it's not muted. There's nothing, you check the mute button, unmute, shut the vehicle down, turn it on again, back to normal. Isn't that crazy?
And not only is it crazy, and it's happening to hundreds of thousands around the country. Imagine what these things are going to be like when they get some age on them.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great.
Not a good thing to look forward to.
The other area that creates problems are battery electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids.
Yep.
They create more problems than internal combustion engine vehicles, 175 problems per 100. For plug-in hybrids, 239 problems per 100. And battery electric vehicles, 200. This is kind of funny because
this is
239 problems per 100. That's not funny, excluding Tesla, which has an average of 240 problems per 100. They had to separate them out because of Tesla's issues, and that's kind of sad.
Again, we've been talking about this for years, and it isn't changing. Tesla's build quality is just not up to par with the rest of the industry.
Yeah.
And their response is they don't have a PR department. They don't loan out their vehicles to test.
Yeah.
They're just hiding.
Yeah. Well, so Tesla, by the way, talking about this J.D. Power initial quality study, was included for the first time, and it had a score of 226 problems per 100, but Tesla does not allow J.D. Power access to owner information in the states that permission is required by law, so they remain ineligible for best of awards.
Well,
so let's talk about some of the big results here. And brand ranking: Buick #1, the best with the lowest number of initial quality problems per 100. Dodge, Chevrolet, Genesis.
Normally, well, Chevrolet. Now, this is an indication, and I know you're aware of it, that it's these high volume models that tend to be reliable.
Yeah.
Because they make a lot of them. They worked out the bugs.
These are all above industry average, with lower problems per 100 vehicles. Kia, Lexus, GMC, Cadillac, BMW, Ford, Lincoln, Nissan, Mini, Toyota, and Mazda. Below industry average, but slightly below it. The industry average was 180 problems per 100 vehicles. Honda, Hyundai, Ram, Mercedes-Benz, Subaru, Acura, Land Rover, Jeep, Porsche. Goes down the line. The one with the most problems, Les, is Chrysler. Let's do some of the lowest ones. Audi with 239 problems per 100. Maserati, 255 problems per 100. Volvo with 256 problems per 100.
That's a little bit of a surprise.
Chrysler with 265 problems per 100 vehicles. Tesla with 226. And here's a weird outlier, Polestar with 328.
Well, electric.
Yeah.
Because we're running into a lot of problems with battery reliability, battery, not failure, but
reduce range, things like
reduce range, because some of the batteries are aging a little faster than they should.
But Polestar, the vehicles are all
they're
within a few years, right? I don't know when they came out, but let's look at some of the highest quality models for initial quality. The highest initial quality model, Les, and this is a change up from years gone by, the Chevrolet Corvette.
Now, that's a huge surprise.
That will go in the marketing information, won't it?
At one time, Corvette had very low rankings, mainly because they were bought, as a high performance car and beaten to death.
Mm-hmm.
But here you go, world class car.
And then here's one: the Kia Rio, highest quality, highest ranked was Hyundai Accent, and then the Kia Rio as well. They're in the top models. Interesting. We're going to do a story about the Accent going away. That's going to go away.
Yeah.
The highest ranked compact sporty car, Mini Cooper. Highest ranked small premium car, BMW 2 Series. Compact car, highest ranked Kia Forte, but also good response from Toyota Corolla and Nissan Sentra. We're going to be reviewing one of them a little later on in the show, Nissan Sentra. Midsize car, highest ranked Chevy Malibu. Yes, they still make the Malibu. You don't hear anything about it.
You don't hear a thing about it.
But they still make it.
Yeah.
Kia K5, nice vehicle. I just had that. Nissan Altima. Premium car was Genesis G70. Midsize, BMW 5 Series, Mercedes E-Class, and the Genesis 80 won in that segment. Large premium, highest rank, BMW 7 Series. There's a lot of stuff going on in the 7 Series, isn't it?
Well, there is. I never think of the 7 Series as being a reliable, trouble-free vehicle.
No. Just quick on the SUV segments, highest ranked Buick Encore GX, and also in there Buick Encore and Ford Bronco Sport. Midsize was Lexus GX and Cadillac XT5. Upper midsize SUV, Toyota 4Runner, Kia Telluride, GMC Acadia. Compact SUV, Kia Sportage, big sales for their new model.
Yep.
So it goes on and on and on, but that is the J.D. Power U.S. Initial Quality Study. We hope some of the detail helps you when you're going out to buy a new vehicle. When we come back, we're going to tell you about Hyundai and how they're switching up their lineup. So stay tuned to Cruise Control. We are live every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Watch us on Facebook and YouTube. Details are in this podcast's episode information.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control. As Fred mentioned before the break, we're going to switch over to Hyundai.
Yep.
And let you know what they're going to be. What's their model lineup for 2023? I know it's only 2022,
but
this is the way it works.
Some of the manufacturers already have shut off 2023 ordering, and you have to order a 2024. Yeah. What a strange time, huh?
Never would have predicted it.
Yeah.
But it's here.
Yeah.
So Hyundai's a great brand. You can't knock it. Accent is the best deal you can buy for a car right now.
It's like $16,000, the Accent.
But you won't be able to buy it for much longer.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to make it.
Yeah. Actually, they're going to discontinue the Accent due to the expanded SUV lineup. They do say in this release, though, sedans remain an important part of the lineup, and Hyundai continues to offer the Elantra and Sonata, even though we've heard they might drop the Sonata. But here's proof you don't need to spend a lot to get a good car. Get a new car with modern safety features, modern amenities, right?
Exactly. The Accent proves that.
Yeah. And it used to be like a funky little small car. Now it looks like a decent little sedan, you know?
It's a capable, reasonable size, super reliable.
Yeah. Now, what is it being replaced with? Well, the entry-level vehicle is going to be the Venue, which I believe starts at $19,000. This is a front-wheel drive only crossover. I've actually asked to drive this many times, believe it or not. And sometimes you and I have a hard time getting these out of the fleet. They don't want to put them in because they're a basic car. But I always think it's important to drive things like this, especially for someone that's getting a new car or first-time new car. Maybe they're getting it as a second commuter car. I think these things are great. They look great. Look at the two-tone paint. And I think it's important to drive those. You know, well, some of our other colleagues just want to drive supercars. I want to drive cars that people that I can tell them about that they might be able to purchase and not spend all of their income on a car, right? People, our longtime listeners certainly realize that we tend to review vehicles that everybody drives. Right.
It's great to get into a Lamborghini, but who do you know who has one?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's more useful to be able to drive everything. And I always say that I drive everything from Bentleys to the base Kia, and it's good. But let's talk a little bit more about Hyundai's plans. They're going to be dropping the Veloster N as well, due to the new N brand model expansion into Elantra N and Kona N. So that's some of the changes that are going to be happening to the vehicles. We're also going to tell you about their Ionic 6, which is incredible, and we'll do that in a minute. But just to run it down, Palisade is going to get some product enhancement. Santa Fe and Tucson are carryover models. Kona, very popular vehicle available in internal combustion and electric, is carryover. Santa Cruz carryover. Venue carryover. The Nexto hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle is a carryover model. I've never driven that. I'd like to do that. Ioniq 5, Elantra, all carryovers. Most of them are carryovers. They're just getting rid of. Now, here's interesting. The Ioniq HEV and PHEV, so hybrid electric vehicle and plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, are discontinued due to the significantly expanded electrified lineup with the Elantra hybrid electric vehicle Sonata hybrid electric vehicle, Ioniq 5, Kona electric, Tucson hybrid electric vehicle and plug-in hybrid vehicle, and Nexto. So we're going to talk about a little bit about what's going on in their Ioniq lineup, and it is the Ioniq 6. Look at this thing. This looks sort of like a Porsche in many ways, and it also looks a lot like the Mercedes EQXX. If you look at that design, that sort of helmet, like it looks like the racer helmet on a bicycle, racer. I think this is a shape we're going to see a lot more of in vehicles, and you and I can talk about this, but if hitting the perfect aerodynamic number, will that make all vehicles look the same?
Well, have you seen the ad for this on TV?
I have not seen the ad for the
It's
Ioniq.
very clever. Jason Bateman brings you through car history very quickly and into electric, and then he's driving that at the end of the commercial. It's very nicely done, and it's, it catches your eye.
They call it a streamliner. Oh, listen to this. Cocoon-like cabin with comfort features. Single curved aerodynamic profile and carefully crafted contours give us the lowest drag coefficient of 0.21.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's low for an actual car.
Sustainable materials are applied throughout. And I tell you, it looks sort of like a Porsche in the back, doesn't it?
It does. It's
even got a little whale tail back there.
Yeah. Well, I know that's not big enough for you.
No, I would need something up on
You insist on pretty much a wing the size of a DC-3.
Look at the quality of this thing, though. It is beautiful. Of course, it's got the door handles very similar to the EV6 that I'm driving, the Kia EV6. There is eco-processed leather seats, recycled PET fabric seats. I think PET is the water bottles, I believe. I
think it is, yeah.
Bio TPO skin on the dashboard, bio PET fabric headliner, bio paint derived from vegetable oils on the doors, recycled fishing net carpet. That's kind of cool.
It is cool.
I don't know how many people will look for those things. I just think it looks expensive, and it probably won't be as expensive as other cars that look that way, if you know what I mean. I love that old airliner in the back. I think that's a DC-7 4-inch.
It's one of the DC airplanes.
Yeah. But beautiful vehicle. We don't have pricing on this. The full premiere will take place in July, and we'll have updates on that. But it is just absolutely stunning right now. I have not seen the commercial for it, but I like it.
It's a fun commercial.
Yeah, the legacy of Tesla is the flat door handles, which I actually think is okay. I like the ones on the EV6 I'm driving now, the Kia EV6. They work great. You walk up to the vehicle, they pop out for you to grab, and then they retract back in. And I think that's pretty cool. But excited.
As long as they'll do that in an ice storm.
Well, that's true. That's true. But hey, let's talk a little tech. The government is looking to get more data recorded by the so-called black box, which I guess relates to the black box in an aircraft when it crashes, which is not black, by the way. It's typically orange, international orange, so you can find it. But the government's looking to get more information recorded on these vehicles so they can use it for data as far as, crash data, what happened, especially when we're getting into autonomous driving at some point, or semi-autonomous driving, more of that. And they it's kind of interesting because they had some regulation for more than 3 years that was supposed to have been finalized by 2020. I don't think it did get finalized.
No, believe it or not, there are political pressures here in Washington.
Wow. I've heard of political pressures in Washington.
Yeah, it happens.
But the car makers apparently in this case, according to this Reuters article, the car makers they kind of dropped the requirement because they were voluntarily doing this. They were going to include more things like vehicle speed, crash forces at the moment of impact, whether the airbag deployed or if the brakes were applied. So it's interesting. I mean, I think all of this is available. It came out of racing. There's a race pack computer. I remember in drag racing that would basically record all of this, and this is where it's going. So I think this will happen. These sensors are there. Accelerometers are cheap to put in.
There.
Yeah. So we'll see more of it. When we come back, Les is going to have a review of the F250 Super Duty diesel. So we're going trucking. So stay tuned. Cruise Control is your on-air automotive magazine. Check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com.
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. It is time for another At the Wheel review. And as we have said in the past, we drive what hopefully some or many of our listeners drive. In this case, I drove, much to the dismay of my wife and neighbors, a Ford F-150, F-250, heavy duty, except single rear wheel. It's actually called the SRW, single rear wheel. Dualies, was just too much icing on the cake.
You didn't need that.
That's right. So this is a crew cab. This is a crew cab. I just want you to know how big this thing is, because my driveway is 22 feet long.
Okay.
To the threshold. The truck is almost 21 feet.
Now, what? So that was an
and that's
8-foot
touching 6-foot bed.
Okay, so big cab.
Wheelbase is 160 inches.
Wow.
The length without bumpers and stuff is 250 inches.
Wow.
79 inches high, 80 inches wide. It's almost 7 feet.
Wow.
The lowest ground clearance to the differentials is 9 inches. The truck weighs 6,050 pounds.
Wow.
And it can carry another 6,000 pounds.
That's crazy.
It can tow 20,000 pounds.
Oh, my.
This is a serious truck. It's so serious that you can't get the automatic running boards that come out.
Right.
To step in. No, you can't get those.
Because
you've got a big pull handle up on the dash, on the end of the dash, to haul yourself in.
Oh, wow.
Which, by the way, several of my friends weren't thrilled about getting in.
Did they need the step stool? They probably did.
Yeah, actually, I had the step stool out there.
Yeah.
Okay. So this diesel, by the way, is a 475 horsepower diesel.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
It's a 6.7 liter Power Stroke. You're familiar with those diesels,
sure,
Fred?
Sure.
Torque, want to guess?
Over 1,000 foot
1,050 foot-pounds of torque. It all is directed through a 10-speed automatic with selectable drive modes, which are normal, slippery, tow haul, Eco, and Deep Sand.
Does it have house mover mode? Like you can tow your house off the foundation if you need it?
No, but in traffic, I put it in traffic evasion mode, and it just drives over all the cars.
Gotcha. Bigfoot mode.
It's just huge. Anyway, some of just a few technical details about it. It's a 240 amp alternator.
Wow.
It has
small
the biggest
power station.
the biggest power takeoffs in the bed, power takeoffs inside, 120 volts. Biggest four-wheel disc brakes calipers you've ever seen. Advanced track roll stability, trailer sway control.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. A 48-gallon gas tank.
Fuel tank.
That's right. It's not gas.
You don't want to put gas in it.
It's diesel fuel. It wants ultra low sulfur diesel fuel.
I bet that's expensive to fill up these days.
Fortunately, I didn't fill it.
Okay.
It came filled. and I drove it for a solid week. I drove it everywhere, and it hardly came off full.
Great mileage with it, but
well, the mileage isn't super great.
Is it in the 20s at least?
It's 12 to 15 in the city and 18, 19 on the road. But the miles to empty gauge on the dash started with miles to empty 679 miles.
Wow.
So I could have driven to Boston without any problem on one tank.
Wow. That's incredible.
It's just it's really a remarkable piece of machinery. It has a stationary elevated idle control.
So
I honestly don't know what that is.
High idle, like if you're doing an actual power takeoff or
power takeoff,
or if you're using a lot of electricity, like police cars have that sometimes because they need to keep the speed up to keep the battery topped off.
Yeah. And electronic shift on the fly transfer case, which is pretty high tech. And trailer tow camera system. It wasn't super optioned up. So I'll get to the price eventually, but let me just tell you about driving this thing. So you get in and you're quite tired getting in.
It's a workout.
But the seats are super comfortable. The visibility out is great. The dash is beautifully integrated with that nice screen that, it's not sticking up in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is where you want it. It doesn't feel super big inside, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
It has power pedals.
That's good.
So if you're not fitting, the pedals will come to you.
Right.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that.
And you start the diesel, you don't hear it.
Wow.
It's just, you can sort of hear a little
rumble.
Just not fussy, not anything. It's the quietest diesel I've ever heard.
Wow.
You drive off. There's none of that, diesel-y clacking
clatter.
Distance. None of that. You just drive off smoothly. It's shifting about every 2 seconds.
Yep. Boom, boom, boom.
Because it doesn't need to, it's got so much power. And the thing is quiet and smooth over any surface. You just cruise along very, very comfortable. It's something that you'd feel very relaxed after a long trip.
Mm-hmm.
Until you had to pay for the fuel, in which case you'll have a coronary. But I'm not a truck guy. I don't need a truck.
Right.
But if I needed something heavy duty for serious work, and I had to tow, a small mountain,
that would be.
I wouldn't hesitate to get one of these because it's a big brute.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's this very gentle thing that's comfortable to be in.
I found when I had one, I had to drive it like a tractor trailer. I had to make the wide turns. I had to square things off.
I was making tight turns, and honestly, it felt comfortable to drive.
I enjoyed it. It was just I wouldn't want to try to have to park it in the city. But you actually did that, right?
I did it, and it. People looked at me, but I knew it would fit.
You were jonesing for the Corolla at that point.
Oh, you know it. And the price, not bad. $54,325 plus $1,595 delivery.
Oh, okay. Not bad these days. I would have said 70.
Yeah, I honestly was surprised.
Yeah. I saw one with a regular cab and an 8-foot bed. It almost looked like a custom vehicle. You just don't see that anymore.
You just don't see them.
Les Jackson, thanks for that F250 Super Duty review. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We're going to see you down the road.
Bye.
Cruise Control streams live every Saturday starting at 10 a.m. Eastern. Watch us live on Facebook and YouTube. Details are in this podcast's episode information.